Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. We are doing the chapter Public Facilities, and under this chapter, we are doing about water supply to Chennai. We have seen how different localities of Chennai are facing different types, different categories of shortage in water supply. So, while we see that in Chennai, municipality is able to meet only about half the needs of the people of the city on average. And like we have seen, there are some localities where there is no problem of water, but in some localities the problem is very acute, like Saidapet. So we can say that this the government, the water supply is the responsibility of the municipality, and it is not able to do its work properly. And whenever such situation arises in which we find that there is a shortage of public facilities, in that situation the most uh, badly affected group of the society is the poor people. The rich class is not going to have any problem because they have enough money. They can purchase water or whatever particular thing is in scarce. They can purchase it at a very high rate also. And if we see the case of middle class, we find that yes, middle class is also in trouble, but uh, middle class is having that much money that it can spend in order to get the basic facilities. So if water scarcity is there, then middle class will cope through a variety of private means. है ना जब अगर government is not able to fulfill the uh, need of water of its citizen, then the people who can afford it will go for private ways in order to get water, like digging of the bore well, buying water from tankers, using bottled water for drinking. So all these options are available to middle class, and yes, of course, middle class also faces problem. Still, it will afford. It will have to purchase that water from any private means. But we see that apart from the availability of water, access to safe drinking water is also available to some, and this depend on what can afford. It's first of all, two things are involved in this. You must understand. First is availability of water. Okay, the first point is availability of water. और दूसरी चीज़ जो है वो है दैट इज़ एक्सेस टू सेफ ड्रिंकिंग वाटर, पानी मिल रहा है या नहीं और सेफ ड्रिंकिंग वाटर मिल रहा है या नहीं, दीज टू आर डिफरेंट थिंग, दो दे आर क्लोजली रिलेटेड बट स्टिल दे आर डिफरेंट थिंग। है ना, वाटर अवेलेबल कहीं पर हो सकता है बट सेफ ड्रिंकिंग वाटर उनको ना मिले, ऐसा भी हो सकता है। And these both these two things depend on what one can afford, है ना, क्या हम अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं ये इस पे डिपेंड करता है। पीपल हु कैन अफोर्ड इट दे विल गेट सेफ ड्रिंकिंग वाटर, है ना। एंड if the person is not able to afford it, then what happen, who are the people who are not able to afford it? These are the poor people of the society. So these poor people will face the problem of this not availability of water, and they are not having any access to safe drinking water. And uh, what we find that what happens that the people who have money, they have this right to water, they enjoy this their right to water, but we find that those who are poor, they don't have availability of water, they don't have any access to safe drinking water. And universal access to sufficient and safe water is set as goal, है ना। ये गोल है हमारे सामने कि सफिशिएंट और सेफ वाटर सबको अवेलेबल कराया जाए, ठीक है। दिस गोल इज सेट, सो इन ऑर्डर टू अचीव दिस गोल, what is to be done, there is need of changing the things. Okay, so universal access to sufficient and safe water. And now we see that how private companies are making money because of the problem of water. Because of water scarcity, the private companies are making profit, they are making money. How it is happening? Like we have one example. Private companies are how they are related to water supply. They provide water to cities by वाटर टैंकर, ठीक है। प्राइवेट कंपनीज जो हैं वो शहर में वाटर सप्लाई करते हैं वाटर टैंकर से। नाउ फ्रॉम वेयर वाटर कम्स इन द वाटर टैंकर, वाटर टैंकर में वाटर कहाँ से आता है, ये अब हमें सोचना पड़ेगा। सो व्हाट वी फाइंड दैट जो मुंबई, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट चेन्नई, नॉट मुंबई, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट चेन्नई। तो चेन्नई में क्या होता है कि चेन्नई के जो आसपास के टाउन है लाइक मामंडूर, पालूर, करुंगीजी एंड फ्रॉम विलेजेस टू द नॉर्थ ऑफ द सिटी, आसपास के विलेज और सिटी से क्या करता है कि वाटर को निकाला जाता है, ठीक है। 13,000 वाटर टैंकर्स वहाँ पे पहुँचते हैं। चेन्नई के आसपास के जो विलेज हैं, जो सिटीज़ हैं, टाउन्स हैं, वहाँ पे 13,000 वाटर टैंकर्स पहुँचते हैं। और वाटर जो है वो इसी तरह के आसपास के इलाकों से निकाल करके वो टैंकर को भर के फिर वो वापस चेन्नई में लाके उसे बेचते हैं, है ना। और हर मंथ क्या करते हैं, हाउ दे वर्क, जो वाटर डीलर्स हैं, जिन जो टैंकर्स जो लेकर आ रहे हैं, वाटर का ट्रांसपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, तो दे आर वाटर डीलर्स। What they do that every month they pay farmers an advance for the right to exploit water sources on their land. उनके लैंड से में वाटर है, अंडरग्राउंड वाटर, उसको निकाल करके उसको वो यूज़ करने के लिए क्या करते हैं कि हर महीने उनको वाटर डीलर को कुछ पे करना पड़ता है, एडवांस में ही वो पे कर देते हैं, ठीक है। ताकि जो फार्मर है वो उनको ये राइट दे सके कि वो वहाँ पर वाटर जो सोर्सेज जो भी उसके लैंड में है वो उसको यूज़ करेंगे, है ना। और ये जो वाटर ये लोग ले जाकर जा रहे हैं अंडरग्राउंड वाटर, उसके कारण उस विलेज की कंडीशन अब थोड़े दिनों में ख़राब हो जाएगी, बिकॉज देर विल बी नॉट बी enough water for the purpose of agriculture and irrigation, है ना। सो दैट प्रॉब्लम विल अराइज वेरी सून। नॉट ओनली दिस, ड्रिंकिंग वाटर सप्लाई ऑफ द विलेजेस विल ऑल्सो बी अफेक्टेड, क्योंकि ग्राउंड वाटर का लेवल जो है वो कम होता जा रहा है, वो पानी लेकर के दूसरी जगह पहुंचा रहे हैं, है ना। और अगर मान लो कि वो पानी दूसरी जगह पहुंचा रहे हैं तो बहुत दिनों तक ये चीज़ नहीं चल पाएगी, बिकॉज इन इन अ नियर फ्यूचर these towns and villages which are there in the surroundings of the city Chennai, they will also face water scarcity. So this is not the solution कि water tanker से पानी आ जाए, वो that is not the solution, because it is only simply transporting the water from one place to another, and उसमें they are just making money. So this kind of situation is there in our country. And now we see in search of alternative. What is the alternative? If the government is not able to provide adequate water supply to all its people, then what is the alternative? So first of all, we will see that it's not only about Chennai, though we have read about Chennai, But it is not the story of Chennai only. We find that same kind of situation exists in almost all the cities of the country, especially in summer months. The problem becomes acute. So we see that in the municipal water is increasingly becoming shortage, and when there is shortage in municipal water supply, uh, what will be done by the people? The people will purchase water from private companies, and these private companies, they want to sell water because they will make profit out of selling this water. So this is one of the problem, ki the government is not able to fulfill the water supply need of the people, so private companies are they are trying they have started selling water for profit only. And now the next thing we see that there is one more problem, that is the supply में जो inequalities होती है, great inequalities in water use. Common are the ग्रेट इनक्वालिटीज इन वाटर यूज, वाटर के यूज में बहुत ज़्यादा इनक्वालिटी। लाइक हमारे सामने एक डेटा है जिसमें अर्बन वाटर कमीशन जो है उसका क्या कहना है कि पर पर्सन अर्बन एरिया में वाटर का सप्लाई कैसे होना चाहिए, इतना होना चाहिए कि एक इंसान को हर दिन कम से कम 7 बकेट्स वाटर जरूर मिल जानी चाहिए, या 135 लीटर्स, है ना। इफ अ पर्सन इज एबल टू गेट 7 लीटर्स ऑफ 7 बकेट्स ऑफ वाटर और 135 लीटर्स ऑफ वाटर पर डे, then it's fine. This standard was set by Urban Water Commission. But what we find that in if you go to luxury hotels like Five Star, Taj, in these hotels we find that 1600 liters or 80 buckets of water is consumed by per person, है ना। एक इंसान पे 1600 लीटर वाटर जो है वो स्पेंड किया जाता है, 1600 लीटर यानी कि 80 बकेट्स। और दूसरी तरफ हमने देखा स्लम एरियाज है जहाँ पर कि पीपल आर people how much water is available to people, maximum 20 liters per day per person, and 20 liters means one bucket. So these people are compelled to spend life like this, है ना। वाटर की स्केर्सिटी है जो कि हमें बिल्कुल साफ दिखाई दे रही है, वी कैन सी इट। So this is what we find that this kind of disparity exists in country. First of all, there is a shortage in the availability of water. Then there is a lack of safe drinking water, and then we find that inequalities in water use exist in the country. So we find that this if the municipal corporation or the municipality uh, is not able to supply the water properly, if people are not getting adequate water supply, this means that the government is a failure. It's a sign of failure of the government. And a government fail कर गई because the government is not able to provide the basic need of this water to its people. So we see that some people are of the argument. They argue that because the government is not able to supply the sufficient amount of water, so what should be done that private companies should be allowed to take over the task of water supply. ठीक है। So because these people are of the opinion that if the function, the task of water supply is given to private companies, then it will work more efficiently, ठीक है। So they are of the opinion that if the government is not able to fulfill the needs of the people, water needs of the people, if the municipal water departments are running at a loss, what should be done? We should privatize water supply. But here we see that there are some facts which is given in your book. First of all, we find that throughout the world, water supply is the function of the government. It is very few examples are there where we find that water supply is given to private companies. In almost all the countries, the function of water supply is done by the government only. Okay, and we see that there are some places, there are many places, not some, there are many places where public water supply has achieved universal access. So it's not like that कि पब्लिक वाटर सप्लाई जो है उससे यूनिवर्सल एक्सेस मिल ही नहीं सकता। ऐसे बहुत सारे एग्जांपल्स हैं जहाँ गवर्नमेंट के ही हाथ में वाटर सप्लाई रहा और उसने सबको एक एक पॉपुलेशन, एक एक पीपल को उसने इसको अवेलेबल कराया। ठीक है, तो ये दो चीज़ें हमने देखी। अब थर्ड थिंग क्या है, इन फ्यू केसेस वेयर द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फॉर वाटर सप्लाई वाज हैंडेड ओवर टू प्राइवेट कंपनीज, in those places what happened that there was a steep rise in the price of water, because now water supply was done by the private companies, and private companies work for profit only. Their main purpose is to earn profit. So what we find that if this responsibility is given to private companies, they will raise the price of water, and then it will really become unaffordable for people. So this kind of work was done by the government in Bolivia. In Bolivia, what was done by the government, that this supply of water was given in the hands of a private company. ठीक है, and when this private company started supplying of water, what is done by the private company, that it started to sell the water at a very high price, with the price which was not affordable by the poor people. So what happened that in Bolivia, uh, riots break out, huge protests were happening, people were protesting against this decision of the government that the water supply should be the function of water supply should be given to प्राइवेट कंपनीज, है ना। तो ये लोगों ने उसको विरोध किया। अब now if we see the case of India, what we find that there are cases of success in government water departments, though these are few in number. Yes, in some at some places, at some states, in some states, government water department is working well, है ना? But the number of such government in which we find that the water department is working well is very less. Okay, so like if we now consider the case of Mumbai, we find that the water supply department in Mumbai raises enough money through water charges to cover its expenses on supplying water. Okay, जो मुंबई में वाटर सप्लाई डिपार्टमेंट है वो काफ़ी मनी जमा कर लेता है, बिकॉज ये वाटर जो प्रोवाइड कर रहा है लोगों को उस पर चार्ज लगती है। आई टोल्ड यू अर्लियर ऑल्सो इन बिग सिटीज दिस इज डन, वाटर इज़ नॉट फ्री, यू हैव टू पे फॉर द वाटर विच यू यूज। तो अगर आप पे करोगे तो इसका दो फायदा है, टू यूटिलिटी। फर्स्ट इज कि देर विल नॉट बी मिस यूज ऑफ वाटर, so we will be able to conserve water. And the second thing is that when money is taken by the government as a charge, then that money will be used for the maintenance of that particular service. यहाँ पर अगर वाटर चार्ज लिया जा रहा है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, तो जो वाटर सप्लाई का पूरा सिस्टम है वो मेंटेन रहेगा। ठीक है. So this is important. Okay, so we will continue with this discussion in the next class. Thank you all of you.